Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we're going to talk about the upcoming Umas that'll be dropping alongside the first anniversary, as well as the new scenario. That's going to be Monakane Tanhauser, as well as Kitasan Black. Now, Monakane Tanhauser is going to be our very first new 2-star, and so this is not a banner where you're pulling specifically for her. She's going to be very easy to acquire over time as you pull in Umas, because you're always getting those 2 stars in your 10 pulls. But if you're and we will be getting free pulls on this banner, so you can have a very good shot at getting her with just those free pulls at 2.25%. But then you also have a very good new 3-star in Kitasan Black that'll be dropping with it. And because we're getting free pulls, this is basically your opportunity to get a discount if you have to go all the way to pity. It's not going to take a full 30,000 carats to go there. And so let's just go ahead and take a look at both of them and see if this is going to be a banner for you to pull on. Now, even though you're not going to specifically want to pull for her, because you're going to easily get her in the future on any Uma banner, it'll be good to kind of have an idea what you're getting with her. So like I do with all Umas, we'll take a look at the stat bonuses, aptitude, and skills, and see what they have going on and what else we have coming out around then that may shift your focus on a different banner. And so with her, she's right off the bat has 20% in stamina, 10% gut, so she's very heavy on hitting stamina. Which you'll see when we get into her kit. She is built around being good for longs. And the aptitudes here, she's good on turf, medium, and long, being a pace, late. Although if you really wanted to make her an end closer, being E, and if you're willing to put in the effort to still try and get your S on your distance, you could always bring her up on end as well, with those 10 sparks all the way up to A. We go into her ult here. She's kind of similar to Agnes Tachyon in terms of what her ult does, being both basically the equivalent of a gold heal with a speed increase in it for 5 seconds. And it's basically you'll recover endurance, a moderately increased velocity with a newfound resolve when in the mid pack and around halfway through the race. Now that is her 3-star skill. So as you get her right off the bat, you're going to start the 2-star, and it's basically the same thing, just a little bit weaker. It's like having that mid-tier heal and a slightly weaker speed increase. So I would, I mean, at 2 stars, this isn't very reliable at 0.03. I mean, I guess you could pair this with another gold, but you really want to get that 3-star just to increase it to the actual big value you can get out of it. Because it's really nice for the longs and just have this built in. Now, I prefer having just something like Swinging Maestro and have a very good acceleration built in. But it does make it where she's going to have an easier time in longs. But when we get into the innate skills, nothing too crazy in her. I mean, she has Slick Surge for late surgers, Pressure, which is not all that good of a long skill. But, I mean, it's one you can always, you can take it, but nothing too crazy on there. Down in her awakening skills, you got Shake It Out and Unruffled. I really don't like Unruffled because it has a condition around getting it activated. I mean, just get something like Swinging Maestro. When you're on a long, you're generally going to be bringing a stamina card. And you can easily just get your Swinging Maestro from Super Creek. Hopefully, if you have her at this point. If you don't, you have a lot of other options. And this one's too conditional, in my opinion. But it is something she has built in her kit. She has Home Stretch Haste. And then Overwhelming Pressure, although I really don't like the skill all that much, but it does have, now you can get a little bit of an acceleration off it at 0.1, even weaker on the white version on Pressure, but you got to be passing right at the right time to really take advantage of it. So maybe you could see it happen, but not reliable enough to even get to take advantage of that. And I'd say the speed crease isn't too bad, but I wouldn't count on it. Now she does have, when you get down here, the skills from events, she has Mile Corners, which is kind of funny. She's Mile D, which, I mean, you're going to easily get Mile A from Skill Sparks, but everything else is so tied to long, I feel like that's not all that useful. But she does have Inside Scoop. I really like Inside Scoop. The conditions, you very easily, get this off on the longs. So it's very reliable. Long one, probably the best white she has in her kit, in my opinion, for longs. As Updrafters for Mile and All I Got for Medium. So she's kind of mixed all over with those distance skills, which kind of weakens her overall. But yeah, she's the free 2-star. We'll all be getting her very easily over time. We'll eventually all 5-star her. But that is Monakane Tanhauser, as everyone calls her, Mambo. But now we're going to go and talk about the character that you're going to be pulling on this banner for. And I'm going to highly recommend you do if you like frontrunners, especially for longs. And that is Kitasan Black. So with her, right into the stat bonuses, 20% speed, 10% stamina. I prefer to have the bonuses in power because one of the negatives I find is with 20% speed and no bonus to power, it's very hard to max or get close to max with power without over capping your speed. So you really want to heavily invest into power sparks on her. She does have the bonus to stamina that makes it kind of worth it to that extent because she is very strong at longs. And that's like what she's mainly for, especially even as a parent for other frontrunners. Now we look at her aptitudes: A in turf. Now she's A in long, A in medium, C in mile. I will say that C in mile kind of sucks going into our first one for making you track because you're going to want to bring that up to B just so she can reliably win the mile races for the shot points. But after that, I mean, it's not that big a deal. And then long is the core thing you're going to be running around. Although, when we look at her ult, she can be used in the other tracks because it can activate. It's just not going to be as valuable as it is on longs. You have strategy, front A, pace B. I'm going all in on front on her. Very strong inherit as well as strong herself on the longs. And that is because of her unique skill here. And so there's kind of two conditions to it. So it's moderately increase her velocity when positioned towards the front on a third corner in the second half of the race. So that's kind of the first one. That's like her generic one that'll happen if she does not trigger the first one here, or this one over here, which is the main reason she's so good. And then it's, or kick forward hard when towards the front on the back stretch late race. And that kickback is an acceleration. So she gets a 0.3 acceleration. Also with the speed increase of 0.25 if it's the backstretch. Else, if there is no backstretch straight away, then she'll just get that speed increase on that third corner like it mentions. And now what it means by that, if we go here, we'll take a look. We'll just look at a long track. But effectively what it means is all the long tracks, she's going to activate her ult at perfect timing to take advantage of that acceleration. So if we go here, we'll just take a look at the Nakayama 2500 or the Rima Keenan that we just did with Sagittarius Cup. What it effectively means is you have the audience, and the backstretch is the straightaway opposite the audience. So if you've probably looked at any of these maps on all of our races, all of the longs start on a straightaway, which is one of the reasons end closers are so strong with straightaway spurt, but it's also a backstretch. So Kitasan Black will always be activating on the backstretch of those longs. I don't think there's any mediums that do that, so it's strictly for longs. And you got that one, and this is the shortest of the longs at 2500. Now, if we go to the longest one, which is Kyoto, or actually we can just look at the one that's coming up that everybody's going to be, you're going to see a crap ton of Kitasan Blacks on the next one here after Aquarius on Pisces Cup. And that is because even this one, which is a unique one we will not see again, this is going to be our only time we do the Hanshin 3200, it's on a backstretch straightaway here. And if you want to go to the other one we'll see a lot of in the future for 3200, you have the Kyoto 3200, you have the backstretch straightaway. And so Kitasan Black will activate her ult on that straightaway. Now, the other part that I didn't even mention on it yet, you only need to be in second. So this will activate from second place. Very, very good for preventing, because one of the things you may have seen in Sagittarius Cup is people were bringing, we didn't see that much of it, but people bringing the silent Suzuka to block your front runners, steal your angling. While she struggled to win for most people, unless you made her very strong, she could just outright block your front runners. Kitasan Black can activate from second place, which is really, really good. And then it also means that when you pair her with another front runner, like Mihono Bourbon, then if your Mihono Bourbon's really, really strong at getting into that first place position, because if you think Mihono Bourbon's ult's a very good mid-race skill, she's not going to screw over your Kitasan Black by being in front of her. Mihono Bourbon gets in front, Kitasan Black right behind her, and then you inherit Kitasan Black's ult on your Mihono Bourbon. And now it's a little bit weaker. It's only a 0.1 for her, but now they both can take off with that acceleration. And so very, very good there. Really like it. You're going to see a lot of her. And because we're going to get the free pulls on her, yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of her on the Hanshin 3200. So one of the things that was very strong in the last longs that's going to kind of fall off, at least for now, is pace chasers. Like I built, I think in all 3 of the longs, a pace chaser to try and get lucky pace because frontrunners were just in general weaker. With Kitasan Black, that is not going to be the case, and so building specifically for lucky pace is not as strong of an option now because you will see that. When you look at what's built into her kit, though, we got to look at the rest of her kit. She has focus, so there's one thing you can kind of use if you're getting very high wit on her, which will be a little bit harder since she is strong for the longs, and so this one's stamina is going to be such a big factor. To me, if you're going to be a little bit weaker on the wit side, I wouldn't rely on the focus or early lead as your triggers for groundwork, but they are both built in, so you would only need 1 green alongside groundwork to activate it, but you got to activate all of them. She has long straightaways. She has medium straightaways built in. She has taking the lead built in, and that is very nice as well, because what that means is you can ditch that Mihono Bourbon Wit card. She has the gold skill built in. You can bring a much stronger stat stick for Wit, which is very important for your front runners. So, like for me on the longs, I'm going to be taking Kitasan Black, of course. She has that built in. Not going to use the Mihono Bourbon Wit on her. And then I'm also going to take Mihono Bourbon Valentine's, which I'm not going to have to take that crappy Mihono Bourbon Wit card with her either. So I can just ditch that card for the long. So really nice there. She has Leader's Pride built in. Very, very good. And really nice for that early race to kind of push off when you're towards the front. And then her level 5 is Blast Forward. And so this is long straightaways. It's the gold version of long straightaways. So we've already kind of, we've showcased with like Narita Top Road, she has the gold version of firm conditions. We're starting to now see some of these gold skills for the double hitting skills, like the straightaways and corners and that. And that's what Blast Forward is. It's just the long straightaways gold. It's a 0.35% or 0.35 speed for 3 seconds, which is very good. And then when you go down here into the rest of her skills here, she has Corner Adept built in, which is nice. It's one of the negatives, one of the drawbacks. You cannot use the Kitasan Black speed card on Kitasan Black. So there goes your Professor of Curvature for the next one, which is very strong for longs that she won't be able to get access to from her own card because you can't pair her together. But she at least comes with that Corner Adept built in, which is really nice. She has Corner Recovery built in. She has Spring Runner built in, so will be very good with this Hanshin coming up and future Kyoto, the Tenno Show Spring ones. And so right there is one of your green activation skills. So technically all you need to get is groundwork if you can get very high wit, because you have Spring Runner taking the lead and focus built in. Now, I would prefer to have more greens, but just know that all you need is groundwork and you have the ability to get it built in. She then also has keeping the lead. And then you also have prudent positioning, which depending on the tracks, I don't know if all the longs, it's good with the dodging danger prudent positioning combo, but having that built in is really nice. I will say the negative though is dodging danger will be, I think, a little bit harder to get because one of the ways you get it is through Kitasan Black card, which you don't have. But she has one part of that combo already built in, which is nice. And then for once we eventually get evolutions, we take a look at those. Now, there's one that's really new. It like just came out on the JP side. I think it's the medium one here. She just gets basically an even bigger acceleration increase for her taking the lead. Blasting the Blast Forward turns to Blast Flash, which takes it from 0.35 to 0.45. And now how that's normally a long skill, the one they just got converted it to basically a medium version on a random straight. Because she is also kind of a medium Uma, because you can get that speed increase in that third corner. I might potentially try her out as one of my front runners on the mediums coming up, because I'm going to have someone to pair with my Mihono Bourbon. And I really don't like using the Mihono Bourbon Wit card, and she has taken the lead built in. So she does get made a little bit better for that as well with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Kitasan Black. Very, very strong. She is one of your main inherits for long front runners. Now, you might be thinking, because when you look at the inherit, it's only a 0.1 acceleration, so it's not as good as, say, angling in terms of the acceleration it gives, but it is on perfect timing. And then we also have another Uma that will be dropping here. Let me go back to the gotcha. Not too long after. Now, depending on the schedule, because I don't believe we saw it on, well, I don't think we saw when Seiyun Sky Ballroom's dropping, but Seiyun Sky Ballroom is another Uma that has an acceleration on the perfect timing of that backstretch straightaway, which we'll just take a quick look at her. So you pair her ult with Kitasan's Blacks. She has a 0.2 acceleration in hers, and then Inherit brings it to a 0.07. So if you put them together, it's a 1 point or a 0.17. So it's almost a 0.2. So almost like an angling and scheming, but very good for longs nonetheless. And here's the combo you can always just do is just you have Kitasan, you take Seiyun Sky Ballroom as one of your front runners. She already has 0.2. You inherit Kitasan Blacks, and now it's a 0.3 acceleration. You do the same thing for Kitasan Black. You inherit Ballroom Seiyun Skies, and that brings hers up to a 3.7. Plus, it has the speed increase in it. So, very, very strong. And so, if you want to run front runners on longs, those are going to be your two combos there. And because we're getting all the free pulls, my advice is this is just a large discount. Just go for it. I feel like this is one of the better banners to pull on because you're getting pretty much full value out of those free pulls if you do so. If you have to go all the way to pity, maybe you'll get lucky and just get her for free, and then hey, you don't even have to worry about it. Now, kind of looking at stuff coming up. I mean, I've already just shown one of them. Kind of what's coming up around her. We have her dropping here. We have the NTR Admire Vega banner. My last video kind of already talked why this should be an easy skip for you. And to me, realistically, the next big one is Seiyun Sky. So you get Kitasan Black, and then you pull Seiyun Sky, and now you're covered with front runners on longs. Then you have Nishino Flower for your pace chasers, a kind of like a equivalent of Major Orion's ult, but for pace chasers on certain tracks. And then after that, there's nothing too crazy for a while. I mean, we have Cheerleader Nice Nature, which is pretty good inherit. But for most people, probably an easy skip, especially since you're going to probably want to get Mr. CB Wit. And then you have Summer Ruzensky and Summer Goldship down the line after that. So nothing too crazy around here. And if you've been sitting on a decent amount of pulls, I definitely would finish off the pity if needed to get her. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on Kitasan Black. I know a lot of people are quite excited for her to come out. I'm ready to see how much different longs will be now that we're going to have a strong, capable frontrunner. If you've watched any of the videos of the Hanshin 3200 on the JP ones, you'll see that, man, if she's up in front and she's got a nice gap because there's a lot of frontrunners, she's basically got an end closer ult, but she's going to be in the front. So your end closers, which normally were dominating because they had such a strong acceleration that no one else had, she's just going to be slightly slower because she has the frontrunner speed versus an end closer speed. So the end closers are going to have to be chasing after her to take the win if she is in good position up in the front. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you like my content, if you can like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.